Vicious cows.
Summon the cows.
Summon the cows. Hello, everyone.
All the cows.
I'm glad I timed that well just to come up with you thinking.
Hello.
How are we today? Are we ready to uncover more of the mysteries of Mezro?
Oh,
Maybe.
Days.
Because, of course, last week, you set foot inside the lost city of Mezro, hoping to find clues or leads that may help you find out more about the source of the death curse and where you can find the Soulmonger and how to stop it. But when you entered the city, you found that someone had already laid claim to it. An order of conquest paladins, calling themselves the Metal Sabatons. They seemed to be willing to negotiate with you. Perhaps they were going to bully you into performing some task. But upon learning that they had apparently killed members of Ava's tribe, you decided you did not wish to negotiate, and you fought their leader, Lieutenant Broken Barrel, to the death. This effectively decapitated the leadership of the Order, and we ended...
Literally.
Yes, literally. And we ended last session with the Metal Sabatons swallowing their pride and fleeing out into the swamp and the city of Mezro itself, leaving their shantytown settlement of Promise entirely in your hands. And so, here we are. You have had a long rest in Broken...
I was going to say, before we had
yes.
the long rest, should we have saved the prisoners that were still in those cages?
Well, you didn't think to do that, unfortunately.
Well, oops.
Hopefully it was only one that got drowned.
Yeah, that didn't quite occur to you during the chaos of the battle. And of course,
I could do that during the long rest.
yes. Well, would you like to attend
sleep.
to that during your long rest?
Well,
You would be
asleep, I'm
sacrificing
sleeping.
your long rest, wouldn't you?
Well, it doesn't need sleep for a long rest, as long as she's only doing
Yes,
like minimal stuff.
True.
Light
Shut up.
activity.
Yeah, light activity. So, in quick conversation here, maybe pulling a switch, then go back to reading.
So, Bobbit, while
you
everyone
and
else...
your no sleep.
Plus the fact that Zinhorn is elf, so only needs 4 hours for...
Yeah, he just meditates for 4 hours. So, while everyone else is getting ready to bed down in Broken Barrel's hut and Zinhorn's getting ready to meditate, Bobbit, you decide to stroll out the front and walk to the edge of what remains of the wooden walkway leading up to Broken Barrel's hut to see if you can catch sight of those prisoners. Sure enough, the cages are still there. And yes, I should give you guys the owlbear link. Thank you, Kitty. I knew I was forgetting something.
Yeah, that might actually... Whoops.
Even though at the
Yeah, it was
moment
literally
there's
just never
no
asked
real
me that.
need to it. Here it is.
Rather have it than not need it.
Yes. And sure enough, the 3 cages are still there. One of them, the one that you remember containing the wiry, rat-faced human, is currently submerged in the swamp water, and you can see bobbing around at the surface of the water the cloth of the back of the man's tunic. He's currently face down, floating in the water, and unfortunately appears to have drowned. However, the other two prisoners, the female halfling and the male half-elf, are still sitting there in their cages, their faces pale with terror and anticipation as their gaze slowly turns from the submerged cage to you. The male half-elf silently lets his lip drop and he raises one of his hands and stammers, "Friendly, I hope?"
Well, a lot more friendly than the last people, I assure you. And we'll go and, well, I suppose I'll go and work out how to get them out of the cages, I guess.
I'd like you to make an investigation check, please, Bobbert.
Yeah, I can certainly do. Investigation. 15.
You notice that the same pulley that is used to submerge the cages into the water can also be used to slide them along a chain until they are level with the walkway. This is how you would. This is how the paladins would have added people to the cage or removed them if need be. So, who would you like to release first?
Doesn't really bother me either way. I'll suppose the halfling can go first. We'll
Yep,
go from
you
there.
walk over to the lever and you turn the small wheel on the side of it, and the chains creak. The chains tinkle, and the wooden stilted hut creaks as you move the cage from the crevice until it's hanging above the walkway. The female halfling within simply grasps the bars and stands still watching you, not saying anything, her blue eyes wide, beaming with fear. Please make a Thieves' Tools check to unlock the cage.
Okay, come on. And proficiency 18.
18. The lock on the cage is not particularly strong, and you're able to open it without little effort. The cage creaks as you open it, and the halfling immediately jumps down onto the scorched walkway. She brushes her blonde hair out of her face, and she looks up at you and says, "You're not going to kill us?"
Unless you're with the paladins, no, of course not.
She says, No, a simple adventurers, nothing more."
Just sort of stares up a second and went, "You didn't kill any of the bird people here, did you?"
She looks up at you and she says, "I didn't even know there was bird people here. We were just
Well, that'll work.
she says, we were
Second
just
she
looking
says
for
that, well, that'll work
treasures."
for me. Fair enough, that'll work.
And with that, you quickly unlock the other cage, letting the half-elf out. Both of these quote-unquote adventurers stand before you. They don't look like adventurers. They've been stripped down to their underwear. They don't have any weapons or armor, and they look like they haven't eaten in a fair few days. In addition, you notice the half-elf's skin is pockmarked with very putrid white purplish rashes, very similar to Sir Lucian's.
Wait, as in like the death plague?
Yeah, they
or
seem to
something
be
else?
they seem to be rashes of the death curse.
Oh dear, you've already died before, haven't you?
He says, "Aye." He says, ran afoul of some ettercaps and spiders in the forest on the way here."
Well then, this isn't a good time for you, it seems.
He says, "Aye. We went back to Port Nyanzaru to find out what had become of me, get some medical assistance. Found out about this death curse. And put our ear to the ground and heard about the library of Mezro. That's why we were here."
Well, that's a fun coincidence. So are we. We just happened to run afoul of these lovely people, but as you can see, our luck was a little bit better with this lot.
The halfling looks towards her companion, and then to you, and then to the cage that's still submerged in the water, and she says, "Well, unfortunately, as we seem to have lost our rogue, I don't think we'll be doing much adventuring in Mezro. So, we very much appreciate the help. Now we'd like nothing more than to simply locate our belongings and get out of here, make our way back to civilization, and hopefully wait this whole death curse thing out."
That would probably be for the best. I wish I had some way to help you with that, but... I think, is there anything we can even do to help these people, or just let them take their belongings and go?
Well, what do you think? Do you think there's anything you could offer to them in terms of help?
We could potentially offer them temporary refuge.
Yes. They may have seen more of the city before they were captured than you have.
That is true. That is true. And when you say refuge, you mean with, like, Ava's tribe, or just with...
Yeah, you could leave them with Ava's tribe, you could...
We'll just, offer...
They'll just want to be on their best behavior, otherwise I'll slit their throats.
Fair enough.
Should ask them what classes they are.
And with that, Bobbert,
the
please
rogue's
make
dead.
a persuasion check.
Oh. I like those.
Because you're kind of explaining that, yeah, you can offer them a place of refuge, a place to hide out so they don't have to make the journey back through the jungle on their own. But as you say this, Ava just sort of leans out of the doorway of the hut, blood still dripping from her sword, and ominously intones, if they don't behave themselves, she will decapitate them herself.
Well, Bobbett's clearly being a vision of politeness, because that was a 17, even with
It's
the
17.
even with Ava threatening death.
They both look up at Ava, looking somewhat nervous, and then they look back at Bobbert, and the half-elf says, well, look, we don't plan on starting any fights, so, we'll gladly take you up on your offer, so long as your companion here is, willing not to decapitate us.
She's fine as long as you don't go and mess with any of her clanmates. Honestly, I didn't even think she had this sort of thing in her. I mean, she's really good in a fight, but we've never actually seen her get angry. I'm honestly a little bit scared myself, but it's fine. It's fine.
This is fine.
Aye, fair enough,
It's fine.
says the
She's just a
half-elf.
big scary mama bird.
And as you gesture towards the walkway leading up to the hut, the half-elf holds out his hand, and he says, Aye, Duncan's me name. By trade, I'm a ranger, but as you can see, I am not much use without me equipment and half starving from malnourishment.
So he says Duncan, he just said Bobbett's eyes laughing, going, oh, that's a coincidence. My steed's name is Duncan. Though I had two N's, because otherwise the analogy wouldn't work and it wouldn't be nearly as clever.
He looks over at your steed and he just says, Aye,
Just
well,
metallic,
you certainly
just
picked
like
up...
a metallic Eeyore in the background.
He takes a second to contemplate the contraption in front of him, watches as its gears whir, and it just stares back at him. And then he scratches his head and he says, in any case, you seem to have chosen a fine name for him. And then he slowly makes his way up the walkway, avoiding the scorched parts, and cautiously enters the hut. His halfling companion simply nods as she walks past you, and she says, I be Shaban o' Four-Leaf Clover. He says, Bard, and I can tell when I write down the tale of what happened here, I shall be definitely embellishing some parts of it.
Hey,
I don't
you
know,
can make a fair bit of money with it.
I thought it was pretty cool. A little scary, but definitely cool. Well, I mean, I probably should have been
You should
scared.
fill her in on what happened
It's
on
like-
the inside, and then she
So
can...
I shouldn't have been scared of anything. I was the demon at that point, but that's a minor portion of the story.
As you say this, she just pulls out a half-soaked scrap of parchment that she's hiding within her cloth tunic, and uses her fingernail to scratch out some part and mutters under her breath, Demon not rescued us, fought alongside us. Yes, that sounds a bit more heroic, I think. And then she accompanies you into the hut.
You seem nice.
Once you've brought both of these prisoners into the hut, you quickly do your best to make them feel comfortable. And would you like to tell them? Would you all like to tell the story of what happened on your side? How you entered the city, quickly encountered the paladins, and exactly what transpired here in Broken Barrel's hut?
I mean, if they're interested.
Well, Shaban Four-Leaf Clover seems to be definitely interested. As soon as she enters the hut, she immediately heads over to a Broken Barrel's stone table and liberates some sheets of parchment and a quill and starts writing down the tale of what befell her and her adventuring party.
Yes.
I was going to say, if
A
someone else
cautionary
wants to,
tale.
if someone else wants to fill her on the details, I'm going to go and just sit with Mr. Stick for a little bit.
Oh, Bulb's already asleep by this
Yeah,
point.
Pulp's already
Yeah.
asleep. So Ava and Zinhorn will fill her in, I guess. And how would you like to spin this tale?
Oh, it is your tale to spin, I think, Ava.
I would be pretty straightforward about it.
Yes, Ava, you pretty much tell them a straightforward account of what happened. That you were on your way to your tribe, got accosted by the paladins, and were sort of forced to accompany them to Promise, and you were willing to hear them out until you saw the trophy of an Aarakocra's head on the wall, and that pretty much sealed their fate, and you pretty much gave them everything you had. Bobbert with her demon transformation, Ava unleashing all of her spells in a flurry of swords, and before the Paladin Order basically had a chance to organize and mount a decent resistance against you, you had slain Broken Barrel and tossed her head out into the rest of the Order, prompting them to all immediately flee the settlement.
Good time.
Shaban just writes this down as Duncan nods silently in appreciation as Ava talks. And at the end of it, Shaban looks up and she says, right, so more of a cautionary tale then.
Well, it's up to you to tell it however you wish.
She says, well, I'd like to say our adventure and party making their way here shouldn't have been for naught, so I failed. I left out the part where, we spent the whole time sitting there in cages, and I wrote down that you shattered the locks that held us, and we all drove the paladins from the settlement as a valiant effort, fighting side by side. I hope you won't begrudge us that little embellishment there.
That's fine.
That helps you sleep at night.
She says, well then, thank you for rescuing us, and tomorrow we shall accompany you to your place of sanctuary and refuge. She then stretches, loudly yawns, and she says, but now I think Duncan and I will relish the chance to sleep for the first time in about a 10-day on a actual solid floor, and not have to worry about the cage swinging and disturbing our sleep all night.
Fair.
And so you take their long rest, and is there anything else any of you would like to do during the long rest?
I would kind of quickly like to talk to Mr. Stick, if that's okay with everyone else.
Yeah.
Yep, sure. And so you retire to Broken Barrel's bedroom with Mr. Stick and just prop yourself up on the end of Broken Barrel's bed, holding Mr. Stick in front of you. For a few moments there is nothing but silence. Then you hear the familiar, smug yet malevolent voice in your mind. Yes? What is it?
Well, hello to you too. It's been a while.
Yes,
Nice.
and I was enjoying the silence.
Oh, well, that's no fun. I always like to check in on one of my friends. I just thought since Well, for starters, you asked me to come to Mezro to seek you out and seek out answers. I just thought I'd let you know that we're here, although I get the feeling you probably already know that.
He simply gives you a in acknowledgement that says, I'm not sure what you intend to find, but I'm sure it'll be interesting for you nonetheless. Still, that was no reason to disturb the peaceful silence. I figure you want something, young Bobbert, and you want my cooperation, so out with it.
Fair enough, fair enough. I don't suppose you were watching that fight earlier on? Or more importantly, that particular ability I was allowed to use?
Yes. That transformation, that otherworldly guise that was granted to you by that Babao. Yes, you got your end of the bargain. What of it?
Well, I was granted only a few limited uses of said spell. I remember that there was technically no real deal about learning how to utilize the spell for my own ends. I don't suppose you'd be willing to help with that.
I see. Well, Bobbert, Alessander, I will tell you that your desire to circumvent what was otherwise an agreed upon deal interests me, intrigues me even. I assume what you are proposing is finding a way of circumventing the limitations placed on this spell, allowing you to call upon it permanently. Am I right?
Something along those lines, yes.
Well, as you may have puzzled together by now, I myself have had dealings with demons in the past, and I happen to know quite a few ways around their somewhat chaotic, ill-enforced deals.
Yes,
Fact
you seem
is,
very eager to make a deal.
The fact
Especially
is
once
that
you knew who I was.
that Babao seemed to be more opportunistic than anything, jumped at the chance to claim your soul, and didn't particularly put a lot of thought into enforcing your end of the bargain. So, yes, I think if we were to pool our magical knowledge together, we might be able to find a way to have this gift permanently bestowed upon you.
Well, I'm sure I'd be happy to work something out between the two of us.
He just mutters appreciatively. Yes, I will devote a small portion of my spare time to it. Of course, in return, I will ask of you to do something for me.
I assume that would be the case.
He says, I won't reveal it as of now, but I have a feeling that if you continue along your current path, fate will bring you exactly where I need you to be. And when we get there, I will ask of you a small trifle. When the time comes, if you agree to perform that trifle now, then when the time comes, I will not brook any second thoughts. Do you understand, young Bobbert?
I feel we have an understanding.
Good. If you back out on your end of the bargain and do not perform the small trifle, then I shall return to spending my free time contemplating the mysteries of the universe and how I went so very, very wrong. Do we have an agreement?
I believe we do.
Very well then. Let us lay some of the groundwork tonight, young Bobbert. If you would assist me in trying to understand exactly how this magical ability has been bestowed upon you and what fuels it exactly, then I will use that knowledge and, if you're lucky, find a way to allow you to make more permanent use of it. let us begin. I would like you, Bobbit, to please make an Arcana check. It will be DC 20.
Fair enough. I don't suppose a 30 would work. That's a nat 20.
Fuck you.
Watch my luck go straight down the fucking
Yep,
toilet
well.
after this, but I'll take this. Oh, I see everything and everyone.
And so you spend the remainder of the night sitting there with Mr. Stick, thinking back to the deal you made with the Babel, and trying to understand what exactly the source of this spell is, eventually determining that the spell seems to be granted and powered by the Babel's magic itself. In other words, every time you expend a use of this spell, it is the Babel who is paying the spell slot and providing you with the spell's effect. This seems to satisfy Mr. Stick, and he ensures you that he will devote a small measure of time contemplating how to get around this and grant you more permanent access to the Babel's magical power. Would anyone else like to accomplish anything during their long rest?
Not really.
Yep, and so, the next morning, as the sun rises and you awaken to the sounds of the swamp, the buzzing of insects, the bubbling of stale swamp water, you step out of Broken Barrel's hut to find the shanty town of Promise laid bare before you, completely silent, not a sign of life anywhere.
As it should be.
From here, it's a simple matter to get back into Mezro, unless you would like to search the settlement of Promise for anything that might be useful to you. It's entirely up to you. What would you like to do on this promising new day? Pardon the pun.
I would think looting would be tricky.
Well, at least search the camp, see if there's anything left.
Yeah, I mean, just like treasure-wise, we don't know what's real.
Yeah, and you don't know what's real and what will disappear the moment you take it away.
True.
That said, there was a full Paladin Order, an entire mercenary company stationed here, so they would probably have, well, if not treasure, at the very least they would have had an armory where they kept their armament and equipment, a place where they kept their provisions.
Yeah, actually, I'd like to look for any fancy arrows.
There you go.
Very well. I would like all of you to please make investigation checks.
That's a 7.
17.
That is a 16.
16.
Investigation. 11.
So the majority of the wooden huts are built on stilts hanging above the swamp water, and they're nothing more than simple wood and thatched bark affairs, and contain nothing more than hammocks and beds for the members of the Metal Sabatons to rest. However, there are two buildings that seem to be something slightly more. The first is what seems to be some sort of makeshift tavern. There's a crudely drawn line drawing of a flagon of ale scratched above the door leading into the hut itself. And inside, there are crude tables and chairs scattered everywhere across a hut that's slightly larger than the others, and the entire back wall is taken up almost entirely by several large barrels of ale and wine and whiskey and stacks of crates containing preserved rations and other foodstuffs.
Ours is better.
And Poet like looking around going, there's not even a basement here. This place sucks.
Yeah, there's no basement. There's literally
There's no
just
attic.
literally
Where's
just
the plants room?
yeah, literally just chairs, tables, a makeshift bar, and all the stuff behind it. However, as you search through the provisions behind the bar, you notice that most of them appear to be only recently stocked, perhaps from a very recent supply shipment. And you may add another 10 days of supplies to your total.
Oh, sweet. Is that
Someone
all of us,
taking
or just for the group?
notes of that? Or...
Yes, this leaves you
Ale
with
is.
38 days of supplies so far.
Okay, cool.
I'll take.
And the other building of note is, similarly to the tavern, a standard hut that seems to have been repurposed. This time there is a piece of parchment stuck to the front wall with a rusty dagger, and someone has written the words General Store on it in very messy handwriting, and the word store is misspelled S-T-A-W.
Wow.
Just poor craftsmanship. They could at least. They gotta make a store, make it work. Some spelling would be fine. No, okay.
Would you like to check it out?
Yes.
As you enter, I would like all of you to make perception checks, please.
This one I might be able to help with. Nope, that's an 8.
12.
15.
Perception. 17.
What do your elf eyes see?
As
Sorry.
you,
What did your bird mouth say?
as Zinhorn grabs the wooden door and pushes it open, and it creaks, you hear, coming from inside the hut, a whispered gasp and an exclamation, "By the gods!" And then the sound of hurried footsteps as somebody scrambles across the wooden floor to find a hiding place.
Interesting.
Like someone didn't get the message from last night.
You step into the general store itself and find that, much like the tavern, it's nothing more than an empty hut with 3 overturned crates stuck together to form a makeshift counter, and then behind it a maze of scattered furniture, wooden cabinets, chests of drawers, barrels, boxes, and chests just scattered haphazardly, taking up the remainder of the area inside this hut. You notice, as for light, there is a single window, though someone has pulled down a canvas blind to stop light coming in and illuminating the hut, meaning the entire hut is dim and lit only enough so that you could just make out that there's a haphazard bundle of furniture and chests and crates behind the counter and everything.
Unless you can see in the dark.
Yeah.
Like me.
And
me.
I have goggles. So close enough.
I'll give them a chance to come out and explain themselves.
So would you like to
That
call
was
out?
incredibly intimidating.
That was indeed. Ava's not messing around here, folks.
So you'd like to call out a greeting to them and let them know you're
Yes.
giving them a chance to explain themselves?
Yep.
Reading is the optimal word here.
Ava, please make an intimidate check.
Where's my intimidation? It is only a +1. I got a 3.
You got a 3. You raise your sword and you say, "Come out and explain yourself. Maybe I won't slit your throat." and you're greeted with silence. Not even the sound of someone scrambling for another hiding spot.
Anyone else want to give this a go?
I'll get my sword ready.
I'm really shit with charisma, so me
Alright, I'll try.
doing an intimidate wouldn't work.
Well, I don't have
Let the
intimidation.
diplomat.
Oh, I was gonna say, Promptus goes sides and goes, look, forgive my friend, she's a little on edge after some lovely people went and killed one of her clanmates. If you come on out, we can at least try to be merciful.
Make a
Please?
persuasion check with disadvantage, as Ava has already tried to entreat the
That
obviously
makes sense.
terrified person.
Alright, that's a 16.
16. There is silence for a few moments, and then you hear a obviously very scared voice stammer out, I'm just a shopkeeper!
Are you with the Order of the... Crap, what did they call
Metal
themselves?
Sabaton.
That's the one. You guys, you're not with the Sabatons?
The voice, the person thinks for a moment and then says, well, I'm a member of the Order, but all I do is man the shop.
Then why didn't you leave?
The voice stammers back, I'm no fighter. I'd perish in the jungle. I thought I would just hide here and that you would leave in the morning, but to my horror, you've decided to loot the whole settlement.
I mean, you left all this nice stuff for us. It seems rude to not take advantage of that.
The voice stammers again. Well, look, you can take whatever you like. Just promise you won't hurt me.
Robert's just looking at Ava at this point.
I want to know if they're lying.
Come out into the light so we can see you.
Bulb, please make a persuasion check.
Oh, that's a 17.
Hey!
It helps if the dice
okay.
rolls high.
Okay, says the voice. I'm coming out now! And then, behind a massive crates and barrels, you see two dark-skinned hands raise up into the air as if in a gesture of surrender. And then, slowly, a very terrified-looking man wearing leather armor, but with no visible armament, steps out into the dim light.
He's wearing armor, though. That's not a good sign for him.
I want to inspect him.
Make an insight check, please, Ava.
Where is my insight? That is 18 plus 4.
22.
22.
He just stands still as you walk up to him, size him up, look him up and down, walk around him, poke and prod bits of his armor. A couple of times he gasps and makes a deep breath, but he doesn't move, and you get the impression that he seems to be genuinely terrified. He also seems to be no threat, as he does not appear to be carrying a weapon.
What do you intend to do after you leave this place?
He says, I plan to camp out here in this settlement and live as long as I can until someone takes me back through the jungle.
You're a member of the Metal Sabatons. Did you have to swear oaths to just be a member?
He says, I had to swear loyalty to the upper echelons, that in the case of this particular chapter, that would be Broken Barrel, but all that jazz about conquest and mercy, that's reserved for the paladins. My
You're
duties
not a
were to keep...
paladin?
Sorry.
No particular god.
He says, no, I'm an honest worshipper of Lathander. Nothing more.
Listen, which god is that?
That's the
do I know what god that is?
Isn't that
can make a
one- wasn't
religion
that one
check.
you had?
Ooh, I can do that. I has religion.
Okay.
I'll do a religion just to see if I know who it is as well.
Oh,
that's in that one.
20...
Cathus
25.
So,
25.
Lathander, the Morning Lord, the god of farmers and harvests, a god worshipped by most simple folk.
Okay.
He likes the farming guy.
You're not a paladin. Sorry.
He says, no, sure I wear the armor of the order, but that's compulsory, it's a uniform. I keep the shop stocked and I fill out the requisition forms and send them out to request new shipments. I mean nobody any harm.
Remove the armor and I will allow sanctuary.
Fine, he says. He steps back, keeping his hands raised. And then he slowly unbuckles the armor. And once he takes it off, he tosses it forward onto the floor, far away from him, as if he's trying to throw it as far away from him as he can muster. Underneath, you see a pathetic man with wiry, thin arms and legs, who looks like he would struggle to even lift a sword.
I pull Bobbit aside and say to her, because she's going to need to be the one to talk to about this, because Bob can't speak worth shit. He's the supply master for this settlement. He would know where all the, let's say, more useful items are, especially, and he would also know which ones are not going to drive us insane. Now, why don't we tell him that we're going to loot the place regardless of if he helps us or not? But why don't we tell him that he will be somewhat reimbursed if he tells us where the best stuff is? And save us the time of having to find it ourselves.
I like that. I mean, it couldn't hurt. I mean, worst case scenario, Mama Bird kills him anyway, so yeah, might as well.
It is true.
Very well.
Not bad.
Bobbit, please make another persuasion check.
Alright. It's a 14 this time. Not my best work, but you know, I feel like this guy's not exactly hard to maneuver.
The man looks from left to right, and then his bottom lip trembles, and he nervously raises a hand and says, "And I have your word that you let me live."
Bob looks at Ava, because that's honestly up to
I
Ava.
was going to say Bobbit also looks at Ava.
Well, as long as you behave yourself in the village.
He says, he raises his hand, sighs a sigh of relief, and he says, "Fine, thank the Morning Lord. I can tell you that all of the treasure was brought from within the ruins. As such, according to Broken Barrel, it'll do naught more than vanish the moment you take it out of the city. That said, there are some useful items that have been stocked here that were going to be used when the Order launched an attack against the Arakocra tribe." He says, if you would wait a moment, I can fetch them for you. I know exactly where they are, buried amongst this mess. He
You
gestures
will be
towards...
escorted.
Very well. And so he gets to work, Ava escorting him, holding one of her short swords at his back, as he slowly leads you through the maze of crates, chests of drawers, old wooden display cabinets and the like. And every now and then he stops, retrieves a key from the key ring in his pocket, unlocks a chest, retrieves something from within, flips open the latch on a display cabinet and grabs something from inside, rifles through a crate and retrieves something. And after about 30 minutes, he holds out his hands and dumps a veritable treasure trove of items at Ava's feet.
Good work.
I would like one of you to please roll a d20.
I will,
Okay.
I guess, because I came up with the idea. 18.
18. So, the first thing you notice in amongst this pile of goods is two, what appear to be two large, polished white pebbles, each one with a picture of an open mouth, ostensibly
Yeah.
talking,
Sending
carved
stone.
into its surface. Yes. And
We've
Bobbit,
been
you
sending stones before, haven't we?
well,
Yes,
yes,
we have,
yes, you
then-
have.
then
In
we
fact, you
lost
had a
them.
pair and you lost them.
Yes, when I got evaporated.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll do it. Disintegration tends to do that to equipment.
Yes.
In addition, I would like Ava to please roll 2d6.
Ooh.
Three and a 1.
3 and a 1, so 4. In
Well,
addition, there is a small leather quiver containing 4 + 1 arrows,
Ooh.
Ooh.
and in addition, 6 walloping arrows.
Ugh,
Oh.
we're gonna need a restock.
The final objects of note in amongst this treasure trove are four crystal bottles. 3 of them containing healing potions, and the 4th containing a slightly smoky coloured grey liquid. The healing potions you can immediately identify as 3 potions of greater healing.
Nice.
However, someone will probably need to examine the 4th potion to find out what it is.
What do we roll for that one?
I'm good with potion stuff, but if it's magic, probably Bobbit.
Yeah, it'll be an Arcana check.
Oh, Bobbit likes those. 21.
21. You dip your finger into the potion bottle, putting a little bit on the end, and then you lift it up to your mouth and lick it,
I love
tasting
that this
the...
is.
Yep.
I love that that's the the one person with the most experience in Arcana. How do you test this potion?
Well,
oh,
you
lick
lick
it.
it.
You know the safe way to... And you taste something that tastes kind of like pepper. A very weak peppery flavour mixed in with something creamy and undefinable. And you determine that this is a potion of gaseous form.
Ooh.
Hmm.
It is a rare potion, and when you drink it, you gain the effect of the gaseous form spell for 1 hour. You will transform into a misty cloud that has
To
a
a
flying...
giant fart.
Yep.
Sorry.
Into a giant fart, yes, that has a flying speed of 10 feet and can enter and occupy the space of another creature. It has resistance to non-magical damage, advantage on strength, dexterity, and con saves, and can pass through small holes, narrow openings, and even near cracks, though it treats liquids as though they were solid surfaces. You can't fall in this form, and you will remain hovering in the air even when stunned or otherwise incapacitated. However, while in the form of a misty cloud, you can't talk or manipulate objects. And you can't attack or cast spells.
That's interesting. Who wants this?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who it would be best for.
Hmm.
Can I just store it for now?
Fair enough.
finally,
Just wants to
the nervous shopkeeper chuckles and he says, and Lieutenant Broken Barrel was planning to use this to get into the Temple of Uptow, and he slaps a wooden crate next to him with the palm of his hand.
Oh.
You open it up.
It's dynamite.
You open it up, and inside, sure enough, you find a large supply of black powder, already divided into 10 cloth bags with strings coming out of the top to serve as makeshift fuses.
This
Bobbitt's
will serve
eyes
my
are
people well.
Bobbitt's eyes are absolutely and utterly gleaming at this side of this. But, oh, yeah, your people. Yep. Yep.
I let Bobbit take half.
Bobbit can take 5. Who will take the
Actually,
other
no,
5?
Bobbit can take most of it. I want to take 2 though.
Alright, you can take
Okay.
2.
Just sitting there, just holding these bags, and going, yep.
And
Did anyone else have use for black powder though?
Nope.
Not at this stage.
well, they've already been set up to be used as bombs, so you can, like, all you'd have to do is light the fuse and leave it and it would blow up, but, Bobbit can actually reuse the black powder if she wants to, which is why Bobbit's interested.
I can always find a use for it.
I'm giving it to
You
my people to use as defense.
And then, with that, the shopkeeper takes a step back, and then he nervously bows, chuckles once again, and says, that's everything. Now, if you would kindly leave my store and allow me to live in peace.
Oh, you wanted an escort out of the jungle, didn't you?
His brows raise. He says, "You would grant me such a kindness?"
We will come and stay with my people until we leave, and then we will take you. I'm good with words. I'm
He
not good with words.
smiles and he smiles and he says, "Well, such kindness you have shown. I will take you up on your offer. And know that I appreciate this. Ostensibly being your enemy, and yet not only do you grant me mercy, but a place to safely rest."
No, you will be watched.
Yeah, just don't go causing any mischief or try to contact your other people, because otherwise that mercy will be very quickly rescinded.
He just wordlessly nods and then he shuffles past you out of the
Wonderful.
hut onto the walkway outside where Duncan and Shaban are waiting.
Before we walk out after him, I gather everyone and go, he obviously part of a group that we hate and will be hunting down whenever we find them. However, it does just strike me as someone who found a place to work.
That's why I haven't murdered him.
Yes.
Yeah, he probably just needed the money.
Yes, and that's good. What if we ask him what his supply lines are, and if he can be a supply base set in Mezro for us?
So essentially you would kind of like to basically take over
Basically-
this settlement and colonize it yourself and turn it into...
Well, not really, but like hire him to be... Like, he stays here, we send word to him that we need supplies, like 10 days out or something. He orders the supplies, gets them in, and sends them to us eventually. Kind of like our go-between, instead of having to send word straight to...
Yeah, the merchant princess.
Port
Yansuru.
yeah, the merchant print. That's it. He can be kind of our go-between. We send word to him, he sends word to them,
Yeah, and he-
arranges payment, and
And being
Hubert
that
just
he
looks at you
seems to
not
be a
knowing much of
wholesaler,
trade.
yeah, considering that he seems to be a wholesaler or a trader of some kind, he might be able to get you discounts on
Yeah, and
bulk supplies as well.
yeah.
Interesting.
While
It's up
Bob
to you.
doesn't know much about money, he does know a
Understand
little
trade.
bit about supply
Yeah.
supply
Do you want
supply
Bob to try and
routes
run
and
that
such.
past him?
Um,
Bob's only learning how trading works, but that definitely makes a lot of sense.
And go, you want a job?
yeah, pretty much. Because he said he just wants to survive, and well, it's up to you. Like, it's a group decision. It's just this way we do have a supply post further into the jungle.
Yeah, it's entirely up to you.
Makes sense. I can't see
Seems like a good idea.
As long as he doesn't get up to anything bad, I won't have to murder him.
It's like the idea that we're like about to leave and just pop our head back in going, oh yeah, by the way, you want a job?
Well, hopefully you won't have to murder him, because I'm hoping that sometime soon I'm going to have an example of what will happen if he does betray us.
Ooh.
Ooh, nice.
Doesn't sound very nice.
Ominous.
Okay, so, Bob, would you like to bring this up to him?
I would like to ask Bobbit if she could relay my plan to him.
I'm just like,
Going through Bobbit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you want
Bobbit
someone
is
to
the
get to know-
intermediary.
Yeah, Bobbitt's the intermediary. That's fair enough.
She's the face of the group, or the mouthpiece of the group.
Yeah.
This is fine, we understand our place. Just everyone goes to walk out, Bobbit's head just pops back in the door and went,
That's what
"Oh,
we
yeah."
should have done with Dan Cooper.
Yes, well, unfortunately, he was a bit busy pissing in a wine bottle, so never mind.
True, but that charisma though.
Oh yeah, that charisma would have been great had it been put to the right use, but we're not debating that here today.
Yes.
Very well.
Meanwhile, but,
So, Bobbit, would you like to ask him now, or would you like to bring that up later, perhaps when you're at the Royal Aviary and your your temporary companions are safe?
Actually, that's probably a better idea, bringing up once they have some sanctuary. Or do we just bring it up on the trip over? There's a lot of options here.
It's entirely up to
Maybe
you.
make him feel safe in the sanctuary first, and then offer him a job.
Yeah, he might be
yeah,
more
that
amenable
makes
to
more
any
sense.
proposals at that point.
That makes sense, yeah. Okay.
Okay. And so, you make sure you have all of your equipment ready. You gather up all of your supplies and climb the outer wall that borders the settlement of Promise, descending back down into the waterlogged, maze-like city of Mezro.
I take 10 minutes to cast Water Walk on everyone.
Ah,
Hey.
yes. And so,
Avery's probably in a bit of a hurry to get to the Aviary.
so you're heading to the Royal Aviary and not the Temple of Uptown?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair enough.
Probably better to see them first.
Will you be relying on your guides to help find a way through the maze that is Mezro, or will you rely on Bobbit's vague memories?
I mean, I feel like Ava would probably know a little bit more.
Well, Ava
I
usually
only
just
know from
flies
the
there.
air.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
doesn't. Why would her people don't go on foot? They just fly in and out. So
Do we want to work with guides on this one?
Yeah.
May
if
as
you
well.
want Bobbit, you could attempt to dredge up some old memories, and this would give your guide advantage on their check.
I mean, I can always try.
Please
Alright.
do a history check with disadvantage.
Okay. That's 14 plus 7, so it's still 21.
So, as you once again enter the winding, weed-choked, soggy streets, you close your eyes and force your brain to dredge up anything it can from your subconscious, and images flash in your mind, images of making your way through these same streets a long time ago, when they were
Making his way downtown.
Yeah, thank you.
when they were
Somebody had to do it. It was going to be
Yep.
me for a second.
making your way down these same streets back when the city was functioning. The buildings gleaming, the buildings gleaming white in the sunlight. Throngs of people of all wearing clothing of all the colours of the rainbow, whooshing past you in a blur, and you manage to form in your mind a very basic layout of this quarter of the city, and a vague direction from here to the Royal Aviary. Now, which guide would you like to use, Salida or Mujarib?
Salida, I
Very
think.
well. Salida will roll her survival check with advantage. I would like someone to please roll for her, and she gets a +9 on her survival.
I will be right back while you're doing that.
I will roll.
Yeah.
+9?
Yep, +9.
Okie dokie. That is... Oh, with advantage.
Yes, with advantage, because of Bobbitt's directions.
That is 13 plus 9.
Salida's natural sense of direction complements Bobbitt's foggy memories quite well, and you make swift progress through the agricultural quarter of the city. By the time you reach the edge of the quarter, the sun is high in the blue sky above, signaling the oncoming of the afternoon. I would like one of you to please roll a d20.
Oh, actually no. Smithy, you can roll something. You haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I just rolled one, so...
That's a 19.
It's a 19. Very well. A once majestic amphitheatre towers over the surrounding buildings here. Life-sized statues of dinosaurs decorate its walls, and canvas canopies hang limply above its grandstands. Swamp water surrounds the building on all sides. And as you approach, you see 4 humanoid figures, cloaks pulled down over their faces,
Get my weapon ready.
entering the amphitheatre after climbing off a makeshift raft that they've used to get across the swamp water.
And Bulb go into stealth.
Bulb can go into stealth. Bulb, please make a stealth check.
Fuck. What is my stealth now that I have efficiency +6? That's an 11.
It's an 11. Okay. Bulb, you think you are well hidden. You break off from the rest of the party.
I am stealthy bird.
Move off the main cobble.
And I'm
Move off.
looking at Greg, you're not tricking anybody.
Move off the main cobblestone street and begin to make your way down an alleyway between 2 buildings towards the amphitheatre in the distance. What would the rest of you like to do?
Depends. What did I just miss?
So you've stumbled across an amphitheatre, surrounded by swamp water, and you've just seen 3 cloaked figures enter the amphitheatre from a raft that they've used to get across the water.
Huh.
And I went into stealth.
Because of the dinosaurs, I'm wondering if this is like an underground cockfight type situation, but with races.
Maybe.
With my passive wisdom perception of 17, do I notice anything with that? Like,
Yes, you do. You catch a glimpse under one of the hoods of the figures as they enter the amphitheatre, and despite the fact that all of the figures are humanoid, you swear that underneath the hood of the cloak you see a very serpentine-looking face.
Ask Salida. I want to ask Salida if she knows.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. They sound kind of like her anyway, like the way that we met her. So.
So you'd like to ask her what she thinks?
what she thinks, yeah. What do you make of this?
She raises her hand to her head and squints her eyes, trying to catch sight of the figures again, and then she shakes her head and she says, I didn't see enough of them. It's possible there could be Yuan Ti here. I cannot think why the Queen would have sent them to Mezro. In either case, that amphitheater is the most direct route between here and the Royal Quarter, where we need to go.
Still slightly dubious after the interaction with the other night, but okay.
So would you like to approach the amphitheater, or would you like to try and find another way through the city and bypass it entirely?
Maybe ask if she knows of any other way.
She says, yes, there are other ways, of course. We would simply need only turn back the way we came and head through the other side of the agricultural district. Of course, this would add several hours to our journey. She says, like I said, according to my sense of direction and Lady Bobbitt's questionable knowledge of this city, the amphitheater appears to be the most direct way.
I want to remind her that if she betrays us, I will slit her throat.
Yeah, Bobbit is just happily in the background going, Because, yeah, still definitely have that line of threat for her from the other night.
Yes. Okay, so what would you like to do? Approach the amphitheater? Now, you do have water walking cast on you, so you don't need to swim, so this does give you some opportunities to maybe attempt to approach stealthily or something, or find an alternate entrance.
I'd like to fly, maybe, and look for an alternate entrance.
Sure.
Wait, no, that would be from the sky, and no one else would be able to get in. Never mind.
Well, you'd be able to get in, and you'd be able to tell what's inside.
I'd
But
be able to
Yeah,
get
if
in.
we give you a sending stone, you could scout
True.
for us.
True. Give me sending stone, give.
Yep. Alright,
Okay.
cool.
you hand a sending stone to Ava. Ava, you step out onto the surface of the swamp water, and then you spread your wings. Please make an acrobatics check with advantage to make your way up to the top of the amphitheater to see if you can find a way in.
Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Acrobatics?
Yes, with advantage.
Okay. That is 18 all up.
You fly up to the very top of the amphitheater's outer wall and perch on the edge of it between two life-size Tyrannosaurus statues. And from here, you take a look around and you notice that there are several large holes in the canvas canopies that hang limply above the grandstands, and it would be quite easy for you to simply make your way through one of these holes into the amphitheater.
I would like to approach cautiously and stealthily.
Yep. Make a stealth check, please.
Okay. Where is my stealth? That is 15. Wait, no. I'm an idiot and can't do math. 18 all up. Wait, no. 17!
There we go.
You
Oh my
creep
god!
You
My
creep
brain's
towards the nearest hole, and then you fold your wings together and deftly leap through it, landing amongst the seats of an abandoned grandstand, looking down into the amphitheater proper. From here, you can see 4 creatures. I would like you to make a perception check, please. with advantage as you. As
I
you
just
can.
nat 20.
Nat 20. Yep.
I'll do it.
You see what appear to be 4 Yuan Ti. They have the bodies of humans, but the heads of snakes, their forked tongues darting in and out between their lips and tasting the air. They walk slowly through the amphitheatre, and then one of them, who appears to be the leader, as he's wearing a differently coloured cloak, points to the opposite end of the grandstand, the opposite ends of the grandstands from you, and hisses something in Yuan Ti language. His 3 companions spread out and begin searching amongst the rubble underneath the grandstand.
I would like to relay. Who's got the sending stone? The other sending stone.
It's just the group in general has it.
Okay, I would like to relay the information to the group saying that they seem to be looking for something. Can Ava make out anything else?
Not from here. Just that they do appear to be looking for something, and one of them appears to be the leader of the other 3.
Okay. And I can't understand their language, so...
No.
Wait, what do they speak? Do they speak Yuan Ti?
They speak Draconic. Do you speak Draconic?
I do not.
Yes, unfortunately.
If you can hear what they're saying and repeat it to me word for word, I can speak it for you.
Yeah, but that would be very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, you could try it. But if you don't understand the language, you're just, mimicking sounds.
You literally just get this over the mic. It's like, yeah, no.
It's like trying to mimic parcel tongue when you're not a parcel tongue. It's just random generic hissing noises.
I want to do it for the lols.
I was going to say, I mean, it worked once for Ron, but that took like 5 years to learn.
Yeah, it did. So what would you like to do?
I was going to say, I'd like to look at Celia and just go, hey, your people interested in this place for some reason?
She
What would
looks
they be
back
searching for?
She looks back at you, thinks for a moment, and then she shrugs and she says, Mezro's a city of many wonders. The Queen could have sent them to search for texts about Dendar the Night Serpent, for example.
No, I can understand
In an amphitheater?
that would, yeah.
What?
Not
How-
great library.
What standing are you currently in with your people?
She looks at you and she says, well, I'm a pure blood, which means I'm already at the bottom of the totem pole, and let us just say it's been quite some time since I have visited my brethren.
Purebloods at the bottom of the totem pole?
Yes, because
okay.
they're the least snake-like.
Oh.
Interesting.
That's okay, so we can't just walk past and if they confront us, have her talk away out of it.
Yeah, no, they most likely wouldn't be interested in hearing what she had to say.
Ava, I'd like you to make another perception check, please.
That is 12.
You notice that the Yuan Ti seem to have finished searching the debris in the grandstands opposite you. Their leader points towards the next grandstand and barks another order. The 3 other Yuan Ti draw scimitars from under their cloaks and begin searching this new area.
So they're looking for someone. What if they're looking for her?
Maybe they're looking for paladins.
That could be. They could be looking for paladins.
Difficult times.
Well, if we get into a battle, do you think we could take them on?
Yeah,
Four
you
of them,
probably
correct?
could. There's only 4 of them.
Yeah, numbers don't guarantee victory though.
Well, Ava, couldn't you attempt a nature check?
Nature. That is 17 plus 6.
You watch the Yuan-Ti for a few moments, and based on their serpentine heads on humanoid bodies, you believe that they may be the breed of Yuan-Ti known as Yuan-Ti Malisons, the true Yuan-Ti, a rung or two above Salida, and known to be reasonably formidable opponents, at least compared to their pure blood counterparts.
It's a concern.
I'd like to relay that information and see. I want the others to see how Salida reacts.
Very well. I would like everyone who is not Ava to make a perception check, please.
Well, this is clearly my day. That's another nat 20.
I got a 16.
Damn! Bobbit is clearly not entirely trusting us. Salida is just staring daggers.
23.
So, as Ava relays this information, you all notice that Salida's eyes, for just a split second, grow wide in recognition, but she quickly composes herself and her face goes neutral again.
Do what you will.
Bobbit just sighs and goes, clearly this is not a good thing. Friends, if they're not friends of yours?
She looks at you and says, let's just say that I might not be on the best of terms with the rest of my people right now.
Oh dear.
Would she still advise going this way?
Would you like to ask that to her?
Yeah, pretty much.
She thinks for a moment and she says, it is the most direct way, and I still advise we head through there. Yuan-Ti Malisons are tough, but I don't think they've ever taken on any party like yours before.
Totally inspired confidence. I mean, why didn't...
Are we being too cautious?
I think so.
Okay, come on,
Which is weird
let's go.
Which, considering how we went last week, is 180 for us. Like, last week we were like, murder everything without hesitation. It's like, I don't know, maybe we should consider all our options before we decide.
So how do you want to do it? Stealthily approach, or just charge straight in and surprise them and just set upon them? Or try to talk to them?
I'll stealthily
Try to walk. Just
try to avoid them, I guess.
keep on our path, and
Yep.
like if we continue on our path, are we gonna run like smack dab into them? Like
Yes, you'll have to pass through the amphitheater.
Yeah, I was afraid of it. Okay.
So how deep is the water? Is it like just shallows, or is it?
It's maybe about 5 to 10 feet deep, but because you have water walking, you can just walk on the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh yeah, because they can't walk on the surface of the water.
No, they
They're
used a
on
raft
boat.
to get across the water.
So technically speaking, yeah, we don't necessarily...
We'll just run. It's fine.
Yeah. We don't necessarily have to
Yeah,
do
if
it
you need
at
to
all.
run away, then you can just run on the water. Yeah.
Interesting. Alright, well, works for me.
Very well. You slowly make your way across the surface of the water, and keeping your hands on your weapons, walk past the raft that still bobs in the sickening-looking drink, and make your way into the amphitheater. As soon as you step through the amphitheater doors, you hear the leader of the Yuan-Ti bark out an order. all the auntie whip around to face you, bearing their scimitars. I would like everyone to roll for initiative, please.
So we're not even gonna get the chance to say, hold on, let's talk for a minute. Just
It appears that
Nope.
it's almost as if they were waiting for you.
I'm guessing I'm attacking from above. From
Yes, and you get a surprise round, because they don't know you're there.
7 for Bob.
7 for Bulb,
21.
21
for
for
Bobbin.
Zinhorn, 4 for Bobbin, wow.
No.
I only got a 13.
No, I rolled it. I said 12.
12,
for
and
Bobbin.
13 for Kitty. Okay. Alright, I will grab the music and switch to the correct map.
Aw.
Yeah, no, you're surprised with how quickly they reach for their weapons and dash towards you. They're not even interested in talking. And they're not, they don't
That
even
means
seem
that
to be
they
taken by
rely on
surprise.
Smell, not hearing.
You don't know.
I guess we
Would
will now.
I know from knowing what they are?
You know
I
that
can-
as they're snakes, they can detect heat, but you don't know if this is their primary way of detecting prey. So sorry, this is not an amphitheater, it's just the only Mezro map I have. So Ava
It's
will go
fine, it's
over
fine.
here. Okay, Ava, you're up first. You have the surprise round.
I can't even talk to him because we don't speak the same language.
No.
Yeah, Bob's technically the only one that could talk to them if they want.
And would you
wanted
like
to.
either of your guides to be involved in this battle? Or would you like them to just hide?
Make Selena hide.
Make Selena
Yeah,
hide,
Probably
yep.
the best. Probably for the
Selena,
best.
sorry.
otherwise-
Not Selena.
Yeah.
It seems like you don't even need to tell her, because as soon as she sees the Yuan-Ti reach for their weapons, she ducks
shoots
underneath a
herself?
piece of... Yeah, she just dashes away and ducks behind a piece of debris. Would you like Majarum to take part in the fight?
I feel like he'd be insulted if we didn't ask him.
So he's in there.
Alright. Alright, so I get my surprise attack.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
So I want to use Hunter's Mark.
Yep, on which enemy?
The
Well-
leader.
The Yuan-Ti Warlock. Very well. Hunter's Mark has been placed on him.
Dang more warlocks.
And I will go, I'll fire an arrow of walking.
At the Yuan-Ti Warlock. Go ahead. Roll to hit.
Okie dokie. With advantage because I'm in
Yes,
the air.
because you're up high. Yes.
Thank fuck. 19 plus 8.
Ooh, that's definitely a hit. Roll for damage.
Where is my D8? There it is. That is 10.
10
Plus-
points of damage, plus your Hunter's Mark
sorry.
and your psychic damage.
Yeah, so plus a D4, so that's 2.
Yep.
And then my Hunter's Mark. What was my Hunter's Mark again?
It's
It's
1d6. You're on d8,
One
yes.
D6. No, it's a D6.
No, it's d8. Yeah.
Wait, what is... now confused.
Pretty
Alright,
sure
I'm
D8.
Yeah, I think it's a d8. I'm just gonna check.
No,
Hang on.
because you leveled up, I think it's a D8.
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
No,
level
Hunter's
6.
Mark.
Oh,
Hunter's
Mark,
Mark is spell.
it's 1d6.
1d6.
Yeah, it's just 1d6. It never goes up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a spell. So that was a 4.
That was a 4. Lovely.
And he's not prone.
Yes,
I
he
believe.
fails his strength save, and he falls prone. And as he does, the other 3 Yuan-Ti will make perception checks. And one of those 3 passed. They turn in your direction, point at you, and hiss. They now know where you are. Okay, we
You
move
want to
on.
know where you are.
Yep,
No regrets.
it is now the first proper round of combat, and Zinhorn, you are up first.
Well, to kick things off, I am going to go for an ice knife on number 2.
Yep.
Ooh, good thinking.
Yuan-Ti Malison number 2.
Yep.
Roll to hit.
That is 23.
23. That is a hit. Roll for damage.
1d10. That's a d10 there. 5 points of damage.
The ice knife flies through the amphitheater, hits Yuan-Ti Malison 2 in his chest, and then shatters, dealing an additional 5 points of damage to Yuan-Ti Malison number 1. Would you like to move anywhere?
Yeah, sort of behind the corner a little bit.
Yep, behind here. Lovely. You run and hide behind one of the nearby grandstands. It is now... let me see. It is now... the enemy's turn. Okay. The Yuan-Ti Warlock uses... Actually, he's still prone. So he will... While he is prone, he is going to attempt to cast Crown of Madness on Sir Lucian.
Does he have disadvantage?
No, it's got... he doesn't
Nah.
roll. This is a...
Not for a spell.
Sir Lucian fails his wisdom save.
Oh, god damn it.
And you see a twisted crown of jagged iron appear on his head, and a madness, a bloodlust glow in his eyes. And then it uses the rest of its movement to climb up from being
It has no
prone
move. Oh, okay.
and ends its turn. Well, it can't move unless it uses its movement to get up, so he's...
Well,
yeah.
Mission's gone mental. That's just dandy. We'll
Is
just add it to the
Yuan-Ti
list.
Malison 1's turn. It runs forward about 20 feet, raises its longbow, and fires up at Ava with disadvantage. And that is a 17. It hits.
Yes.
Ava, you take 4 points of piercing damage, plus
How dare.
7 points of poison damage.
Double how dare.
It is Yuan-Ti Malison 2's turn. It rushes forwards near Yuan-Ti Malison 1, raises its longbow and attempts to fire at Zinhorn. And that will be a 13 to hit.
That's a
Zinhorn ducks as the arrow flies over his head and embeds itself into the stone wall. Yuan-Ti Malison 3 rushes forwards until it is parallel with the other two, and then it casts... Suggestion on Bobbit. Bobbit, please make a wisdom save.
Why am I making a wisdom save for my powered head here?
The Yuan-Ti number 3's casting Suggestion on you.
Oh, fine. That's a 19.
Okay, 19. That is a pass. All you hear is the Yuan-Ti hissing at you. You can't quite understand what suggestion it's trying to give.
Sorry, don't speak snake. Can learn later. Probably should use comprehend languages.
It is now Sir Lucian's turn.
Ah, crud.
Sir Lucian grunts. He raises his longsword in both hands and strikes at Bobbit with it.
But we'll remember this.
And that is a 21 to hit, non-nat.
Yeah, okay.
Bobbit, you take 11 points of slashing damage, Bobbit.
My
And-
favorite.
And also, Sir Lucian is going to spend a superiority die to use goading attack on you.
So now I can only attack him.
Yeah, anyone else will be with disadvantage. So that is an additional 4 points of damage. And now, if you attempt to attack anyone who's not Sir Lucian, it will be with disadvantage.
Sad thing is, if there had been anyone else in the party, I might have felt bad about that.
It is Veska's turn. She fires a ray of frost at Sir Lucian, but misses.
Thanks.
It's Mujarib's turn. He swings at Sir Lucian with his hand axe, shouting, "Rah!" He hits Sir Lucian for 4 points of damage. It is now Ava's turn.
I don't want to go for Sir Lucian. I could knock him prone though.
You could try to hit. You could either knock him prone, or you could try to hit the
Let's take
warlock.
it.
Maybe break his
Yeah.
concentration.
Fuck it, I'll hit the warlock.
All right, go ahead. Roll to hit.
Wait. How far away am I?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 50 feet.
Perfect. I have 50 feet in the air. I'm going to go up and hit him with my swords.
Alright. You swoop down towards the Yuan-Ti warlock just as he's picking himself up from the floor, and you brandish your swords. Roll to hit him.
I'll be doing all 3 attacks.
Go ahead.
Alright. First one is non-nat 20.
That's a hit.
So what have we got? We've got swords, so those are d6s.
Yep, plus another d6 for your hunter's mark.
Yeah, so we've got 1d6 plus 5, so 9 for that, plus
Yep.
1d4, that's 3.
3, so 12. He's making his
Yeah.
concentration check.
Plus
He
another,
passes,
plus the other
unfortunately.
d6 for Hunter's Mark,
Ah, yes, yep.
which was a 6.
A 6, okay, so let me see. He fails his concentration save, and Sir Lucian just lets his sword hang down on his side, breathing heavily as he looks around, trying to understand what just happened.
Okay, and now I'll do the other 2 attacks.
Yep, go ahead.
So we've got the offhand now.
Yep.
That is 14 plus 7 math.
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
1d6. That was 5 for that,
5, yep.
plus the other d6, which was a 6.
Yep, so 11, and your final attack.
Yep. That was 14 plus 8.
14 plus 8. That is a hit. Roll for damage.
Yep. That is 8, plus the other d6,
Yep,
was another 6.
lovely. Okay. It is now Zinhorn's turn.
Alright,
Wait, that's
so...
not my turn yet. Only one went first.
Well, it goes
Ooh,
Ava,
Bulb.
Zinhorn, enemies, Sir
Yeah.
Lucian.
I never had
Veska.
my go.
Oh, Bulb. Yeah, sorry, Bulb's turn.
When did Bobbit get? When's Bobbit's turn?
After Veska and... actually, no, it's Bobbit's
Wait,
turn
wasn't
now.
she
sorry.
meant to be after?
Yeah,
after
sorry.
me?
I kept thinking Ava's at the start of the order, and she's not. She's halfway through. So yeah, it's
Ah.
Bobbit's turn.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we'll sort
because I had the
that.
surprise.
Sorry.
round,
Yeah.
so it's confusing.
All right. Quick question. The problematic sword. Am I still under the effects of the goading attack?
Yes, you are. The goading
Well.
attack... Yeah, the goading attack is in effect until Sir Lucian drops it, which he can't do till his next turn.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm gonna have to cast the only spell I have that's
not going to.
You could ready an action until after Silvestian drops it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
there is
even
that.
then, okay. Well, maybe I'll just ready an action to fire off this spell. Well, fire off an attack once Silvestian drops the goading attack.
Okay. So yeah, that's Bobbitt's turn then.
Yep.
Okay, Bulb, your turn.
Okie dokie. I would like to call out in Draconic. Why did you immediately turn to attack us?
One of the
When we walk in.
Malicens turns towards you and hisses back. Orders of the Queen, the Fellowship of Steel are to die.
Oh, well then that makes this easy. I fly up and fly onto a roof
Wait,
so that
we're not the Fellowship of Steel, though.
But you are working for them with, they're your patrons on this quest.
Ah. Boo.
I would like to fly over here so I'm on the downward slanting... Oh wait,
Yep.
we're in a fucking Coliseum.
Yeah, but just pretend these are... The map takes precedence, so you can fly up
Okay. So I'd like to be here so I'm just seeing over the
edge of the
lip of the
grandstand.
roof.
Yep.
And then I'm going to... Oh, pardon me. Cast Conjure Animals.
Yep.
And conjure 8, hold on, these are quarters, so yeah, 8 wolves.
Yep.
And I want 3 of them to surround the warlock with Ava.
Yep.
2 to be around this warlock, so 1 here and 1 here.
Yep.
And I want these ones to be flanking.
To be flanking,
Impossible.
yep, sure.
Yep. Yeah, sorry, I know this is a lot of work.
So wolf, 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 and then I'll put in another one up on the north part.
I can also
And then,
put something as well.
yeah, you can put some in too if you like.
Yeah, I'll help you. There's actually a wolf. A wolf there. A wolf
There's
there.
a wolf. Okay.
A wolf there.
DMs working together.
Yay!
And a wolf there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yep, so
Okay.
there's a howl as entire pack of wolves materializes out of seemingly thin air, dashes into the middle of the amphitheater and surrounds the UNT.
Okay. And they take their turn immediately after me.
Yep.
So that was my action. I don't think... Bobbit, how hurt were you?
11
Maybe
points.
down to, I lost about 15 health.
So you're not looking overly hurt, just kind of fairly
A little
hurt?
scuffed up, but I'm not in trouble at the
Okay,
moment.
well then I'll save my first level spell slots then. And... yeah, try to stay out of sight. So now Wolf 1, 2, and 3 are all going to attack with advantage.
Yep, and they do have advantage, so that is going to be 3 hits. So the UNT Warlock takes 7, 9,
Yeah, 2d4 plus
16,
2, so...
26 points of damage. It is looking severely hurt.
Yep.
Then
Wolf-
4, 5, and 6 go in.
5 and 4 are going to attack number 1
1, and then 6
with
will attack.
advantage.
Yep.
Because they're within 5 feet of each other.
Yep. And so that is 2 hits and 1 miss. So
Wolf
Malison
6
number
is going to attack 2.
Yep.
Well, you missed anyway, so
Yep.
it doesn't matter.
Malison 1 takes let's see 14 points of piercing damage, and then Wolf 7 and 8 attack with advantage.
Because they're within 5 feet of each other.
And that is a miss and a hit. And Yuan Team Malison 3 takes 4 points of piercing damage.
And I'm just going to write down all the hit points for the wolves, so you tell me
Yep.
if wolves
Yep.
get hit, and I'll keep track of that for you.
Okay, it is now Zinhorn's turn.
Alright, so... kind of just having to readjust what I'm doing now. Well, what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to draw this on there, just so that, because I don't know how else to do it.
Yep.
The pointer. There we go, that'll work. I am going to cast Wind Wall
Ah, Wind Wall, yes.
along here.
Yep.
So it only gets the
It only
three
goes to
there,
number 3. Yep.
and then it goes along here, and then back along this way here. So if they shoot any arrows or anything,
They'll be caught in the
they'll be caught in the wind wall. So
Yep. Okay. So, you cast Wind Wall. The gust picks up and a wall bisects the middle of the amphitheatre. Wolf 5, Yuan-Ti Malison 1, Yuan-Ti Malison 2, Yuan-Ti Malison 3, and Wolf 7 must make strength saves right now, which I will do for them.
which the wolves don't have to do that.
Oh,
Do they?
you're doing it to... Oh, so
literally
you're...
just
so you're starting it here and going...
Starting just
here and
doing
then-
those ones, and then across, and then
Ah,
so it
okay,
should
yeah, no,
only
they
get
don't have to.
Yuan-Ti.
Yeah, that's, yeah. I see what you're doing, yep.
That's why I had to be very specific. Yeah.
So that is a 7, a 22, and a 12.
So the only, hang on, what's the? So 15's the DC save.
Yep, so number 2 passes, 1 and 3 do not. Go ahead and roll your 3d8.
That is 10 points of damage.
Ooh, 10 to 1 and 3, and 5 to Yuan-Ti Malison 2, as they
Yeah.
leap out of the way of the wind. Okay, would you like to move anywhere?
I'm gonna stay behind where I am for now.
Yep, it is the enemy's turn. Okay, Yuan-Ti Warlock fires 3 Eldritch Blasts, 1 at each of the wolves surrounding it. And that is a nat 20, a 14, and a 16. So all 3 are hits. Okay, let me roll the damage. Pew, pew, pew! 3 Eldritch Blasts fire out of its hands, and all 3 wolves go down.
They took over 13 damage.
Wolves have 11 HP.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
11. Sorry, I was thinking Panthers had 13.
Yep. So, and, yeah.
So,
And
what, 2,
this
3?
Yuan-Ti Warlock gets +3 on its attack rolls for Eldritch Blasts, so,
No, yeah, that's that.
yeah, because it's
Fine.
got a
I was
couple of
just-
invocations.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's it,
Alright.
it's ended its turn. Yuan-Ti Malison 1 attempts to fire his longbow at Zinhorn. And that is a 23 to hit. So Zinhorn, you take 4 points of piercing damage plus 10 points of poison damage, so 14 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Yuan-Ti Malison 2 makes a multi-attack, trying to hit Wolf 6. It hits both times, and deals 14 points of damage with its scimitar, killing Wolf 6. Yuan-Ti Malison 3 makes a multi-attack, 1 on each of the wolves, misses once, but hits Wolf 7, and deals...
Right. So
Yep.
the if you shot an arrow at me, it automatically misses going through the. wind
Oh wait,
wall.
yes it does. Sorry, I forgot about the wind wall. Yeah, no, you took no damage. It missed. Sorry about that. And he
Thanks.
deals 6 points of damage to Wolf 8. Okay, it is Sir Lucian's turn. He's going to rush right up to the wind wall, and he's going to move right through it, and he's going to...
Is it a drop goading?
He's going to drop his goading attack as a bonus action. and then he's going to attack Yuan-Ti Malison too. He nat 20s and deals 16 points of damage to Yuan-Ti Malison too.
It's only because he's not here.
Oh shit.
It is Mujarab's turn. He roars, rushes up to Auntie Malison 3, rolls to hit with advantage because it's flanked by the wolves, and hits it for 8 points of piercing damage.
Did Bobbit have an action prepared?
Yes,
yeah,
Bobber,
I
what was
just
your
felt like-
prepared action?
I was basically just gonna fire. Yeah, pretty much. Either a spell or fire off a shot. I'm kind of having issues at the moment because I'm basically standing in the dark at home because the power went
Power
outside.
went down. So,
Oh, no.
My laptop's kind of useless, so I don't actually know what exactly
you can't
is
see
going
the
on
map.
at the
Yeah.
moment.
um,
Map's gone, Discord's gone, so either spell or I could just straight up fire a shot at these lovely people. Someone's going to have to just point out where they are because I do
Yep.
not know.
1, 2, and 3
They're
are
in front
all
of you.
directly in front of you. You can
If
pick
you-
either one.
Everyone talked at once, I missed all of that.
But they're all directly in front of you. You can pick either one. 1, 2, or 3.
Wait, all three of them? No one else?
Yep, they're all. So Lucian and Mujarab and Bulb's wolves are in combat with them, but
Okay, so not burning hands then, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, there's a
okay.
wind wall that goes across in front of you.
yes, which
Interesting.
will stop any of your bullets getting through, but not your
Ah.
spells.
So how far away are they? They're within 60
5,
feet?
10, 15. Yeah, they're 25 feet away from you.
Okay, is the main warlock guy alive or is he...
He is barely
He's further
alive.
back.
Yeah, but
Cool,
he's
in that case. In that case, I'm going to cast Toll the Dead on the leader.
Yep. So, that's
So
fine.
could you make a wisdom save, please?
Yep, and he's within 60 feet of you. I'll make a wisdom save for him. That is a 5.
Awesome. I will roll a 1d12 and see what he gets. That is a 6 points of necrotic damage.
He hisses as he falls dead.
Ding dong, you're dead,
And
bitch.
I look at him confused.
It is Veska's
Yep.
turn. She steps up next to Bobbit, and she casts Magic Missile, sending 1 missile to each of the Malisons, and they each take 5 points of force damage. Okay, it is now Ava's turn.
Okay, well, because I didn't finish him off, my spell has ended.
Yep,
What was it? Hunter's Mark?
yeah, it only
Yeah.
it
As a
only
bonus action, you can move it.
only if you killed the
Only
enemy
if I-
yourself.
Oh, only if you
Yep.
kill it.
I
Right.
didn't realize
Yeah.
that. That's, sorry.
Celeste works a little bit differently. Sorry.
So I will just fly up and smack. Which one am I gonna flank?
Number 2 seems to be the one that's most hurt right now.
Alright, I'll go for 2.
Yep.
I'd like to say I'm sorry I wasn't aware of that feature
Yeah,
of
but
the
no,
spell.
it's kind of
That's
hard,
okay.
and it's also kind of hard with no map. So,
Yeah.
yep. So Ava, you roll with advantage to hit Yuan-Ti Malison too.
Yep. That is 14 plus 8.
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
That was 11
11,
Plus-
nice.
plus a d4.
Yep,
which
plus a
was
D4.
2. Yep, 2 for that one.
Yep. 13. You're gonna hit him again.
Yep.
Go ahead. Roll to hit.
I'll do my offhand.
Yep.
That was a nat 1.
Nat 1. All right. You still got your third attack.
Yep. And that was 18 plus 8.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
Does it hit? That was 7.
7. And you slash forward, slicing off his serpentine head. It is now Bobbit's turn. Bobbit's actual turn.
Okay, it's Bobbitt's actual turn.
Yep,
These guys
Malison's
have all
1
taken
and
damage.
3 are left.
They've all taken damage, I assume.
Yep, they've all taken damage.
I mean, I'm
From the
enjoying
wolves and the
Toll the
magic
Dead.
missile.
I will happily sit behind the
wind wall and do it again.
Not till dead, take your pick on who.
Yep, alright, number 1, go ahead. I will make a wisdom save for him. That is going to be a 7, so a fail.
Nope, that doesn't do it. And oh, poor buddy. He takes the full 12 points of damage as this lovely ominous ring just friggin' clank crazier.
As the bell tolls and echoes through the amphitheater, Yuan-Ti Malison 1 drops to the floor, limp for a moment, then slowly pulling himself back to his feet. It is Bulb's turn.
It's not for him that else calls.
I will. I will ready an action to fire my rifle at any Yuan-Ti that survives my wolves attacking them.
Alright, now it is your wolves' turn. Wolves 5 and 4 attack. One of them hits Yuan-Ti Malison 1, who takes 10 points of damage, but is still alive. Fire your rifle.
Okay. That's a miss, Star.
That's a miss. Wolves 7 and 8 attempt to hit Yuan-Ti Malison 3. One of them hits. And Yuan-Ti Malison 3 takes 5 points of damage. Okay, it is now Zinhorn's turn.
So, just going to keep it plain and simple. Going to go for a frostbite.
Yep.
On number 1.
Number 1, go ahead.
There's a con save.
It is a con save. That is a 9.
I will do
It does not succeed, and I am above level 5, so that's 2d6.
Yep.
That is 5 points of damage.
Bitter cold wind blows through the arena, and Yuan-Ti Malison 1 goes down. It is now the enemy's turn. Yuan-Ti Malison 3 raises his longbow and fires at Bulb, who he can hit through the wind wall, hoping to dispel all of Bulb's wolves if he hits him. And that is a 21 non-nat. Bulb, you take 8 points of piercing damage, plus 7 points of poison damage. So 14 altogether. And now it is Ava's turn.
Is it?
Yep. Alright, no, sorry, it's Sir Lucian's turn. Sir Lucian rushes forwards and rolls a nat 1 as he raises his sword. You hear him shout, "Ah!" as he slips on a banana peel and lands face first in the debris.
It's back.
It is now Ava's turn.
Oh god. Alright, I will go for number 3.
Very well. Move right up, and
With
he is
advantage
flanked.
by the looks
Yep,
of things.
because he is definitely flanked.
Alright. So, with advantage.
Yep,
That is 14 plus 8.
that is definitely a hit.
Yep. And we've got 6
6 plus
the D4, which is 2.
2, and
Yeah.
just like his friend before him, you lash out with your sword and lop off his snake head. That is
with their heads.
That is the end of combat, as the amphitheater falls silent once again, save for the sounds of the swamp water outside.
What fun.
Selida creeps out of her hiding spot. She looks around, takes one look at the dead Malisons, and then she shrugs. She points to the door on the opposite end of the amphitheater and says, "Well, you made it. Let's move on."
You don't want to check the bodies?
May want to check the
Philip.
bodies.
They're fellow warlocks. I'm sure they might have something fun on them.
Yes, you
I
can
wanna
if
see
you
if
like.
they have orders.
I would like
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
to make an investigate check, please.
Love it.
Okay. And that's a 19 plus 4. So I'm assuming
Okay.
that's good.
You find upon all 4 of them are scimitars, just standard scimitars. They don't appear to be in particularly good condition, but they also don't appear to be in bad condition. Could fetch a few coins. The only thing of note that Bobbit finds, however, is on the warlock a spell scroll folded up in the pocket of his cloak. And as you unroll
Okay.
it, please make an Arcana check.
Yay. 27.
It's a scroll of lightning bolt.
Yay. Just
With
happy
Happy
Bobbit.
Bobbit's got a lightning bolt. With that, is there anything else you would like to do before you continue on to the Royal Aviary?
We didn't find any orders on them or anything.
No, it appears their orders were spoken to them, but not written down anywhere.
Okay. Well then, I'm happy to move on.
You're happy to move on? Leaving the Yuan-Ti corpses where they are, you let Salida lead you out of the amphitheatre and back into the ruinous maze of Mezro. The walk to the Royal Aviary is quite short and uneventful, and before you know it, you've made it. The twisting streets converge on a plain structure of white stone built into the northernmost wall of the city. On its roof, a single silver spire points to the heavens, and on top of the silver spire is a grand statue of an eagle.
I want to run in and look for my people.
Ava, you run forwards and notice that the iron gate is shut, presumably to keep out any members of the metal sabatons. There does not appear to be anyone. Does not appear to be anyone waiting to let you in.
I'll call out in Aarakocra.
All right. You call out in Aarakocra. Please make a charisma check with advantage.
Alright, that's a non-nat 20.
You hear a flutter of wings from the other side of the gate, and then a pile of old foliage, palm tree leaves, tree branches, dead grass, and the like, fashioned into some sort of nest, shift aside, revealing an eagle-headed Aarakocra on the other side wearing a green tunic. He raises his wing at you. You recognize him. This is Emberon Coalscuttle. He was a rookie guard last time you hear, but he now appears to be the leader of your people's militia, as, upon him raising his wing, you hear more fluttering of wings and feathers, and 5 other heavily armed Aarakocra step out of the shadows into plain view, lower their weapons, and salute you. Ava! Shouts Emberon Coalscuttle. You're back! Did you bring shinies? And he just runs to the iron gate.
I showed them the shinies.
You hold out your hands, showing him several of the treasures you found on your journey. His eyes twinkle. He turns his head around 180 degrees on the spot, facing the other Aarakocra, and he says, "She's got shinies! Let her in!" One of the other...
I was sort of just looking at it going, wait, are we the shinies or no?
I have so much gold.
One of the other Aarakocra guards wraps his hands around an iron crank and begins to grunt with exhaustion as he turns it around and around, and with a big iron creak, the gate slowly raises, granting you all access to the building proper. Emberon Coalscuttle immediately bounces with joy, runs up to Ava and embraces her with folding both of his wings around her body.
Oh,
Aww.
He looks...
big bird hugs.
Still embracing Ava, he turns his head on the spot and looks at the rest of the party. He opens his beak and he shouts, "And friends! You brought shinies and friends!"
Aww. I like him. He seems fun.
I will reassure. Yes, we brought shinies and friends.
He says, "Great! Great! The wise old owl will be happy to see you!"
Good, I have things to discuss with the wise old owl.
He extricates himself from you, Ava, and then he gestures for you to follow him. But then as soon as he gestures for you to follow him, he raises a wing in the air and he says, Oh, before I forgot. He turns his head 180 degrees so he's facing the wall. He says, there are big bad meanies out there in the city. The metal bootstraps or something like that. You didn't happen to meet any of them on your way here, did you?
I dispatched of them efficiently, and I will show him the head.
His eyes go wide as he sees the head, and he says, it's Father Leatherwing! You got him back! The wise old owl will be very happy indeed! Now
yes,
we'll finally...
We'll
finally be able to...
Like the head I kind of thought like the head of the broken barrel, but that works too.
Now we'll finally be able to appoint a new oracle for the Great Mudjaw! Come! He excitedly gestures for you to follow him into the aviary.
I shall follow.
You lead the rest of the party through the gates and into the aviary, as all the Aarakocra guards silently watch you pass, some of them saluting you, the rest of them keeping their gaze on your companions, just silently judging them. The two prisoners and the shopkeeper look back at them, and then you hear the shopkeeper nervously chuckle, and he runs to catch up with you. The inside of the aviary itself has been repurposed to serve as a makeshift village for your tribe. What, in the past, would have been a grand aviary with great gilded cages hanging from the domed roof above the people who would walk below, have been repurposed into huts and homes for Aarakocra. The golden outsides of the cages patched up with bark, leaves, sticks, and other bits of foliage, and flowers and coloured string hanging off the doors and windows to serve as decoration.
We're resourceful people.
All of the giant gilded cages and the enclosures that would have contained great birds of prey have since been turned into bark buildings and rooms for your people to live in and do business in.
Bobbitt's gonna giggle at the irony of this situation.
Yes, because Bobbit, you have a vague memory in your head of visiting this place back when it was just a wide open dome-shaped building with great golden cages hanging from chains from the ceiling. Beautiful birds of all different colours watching you and other people as you walk underneath them, watched from both sides by great birds of prey and flightless fowl watching from the long enclosures, all of which have now been turned into makeshift huts and places of business for Ava's tribe.
Once a birdhouse, always a birdhouse.
And eventually, you are led through this strange place into a great gold cage that waits at the very back of the dome that has been detached from the chain that hangs it from the roof and simply placed on the cobblestone floor at the end of a path that has been marked with bits of tree bark and sticks leading right up to it, based on the decorations that are hanging from the bark walls. Looted pieces of jewelry, thimbles, old coins, and the like. Many different kinds of shinies. This cage, this hut, is the home of the leader of the tribe. Ava, it's been a while since you saw him, and you remember him wishing you luck on your journey, but expressing dismay that you would leave the tribe so early in life. You step through the gilded golden cage door and into the hut itself, and there, perched on a large wooden column running lengthways across the top of the cage, you see him, the one known as the Wise Old Owl. Not quite an Owlfolk, not quite an Aarakocra, a descendant of both peoples, but he has ruled over this tribe for a century and guided them through the path that is life. Wise Old Owl! Wise Old Owl! Shouts Emberon Coalscuttle. The Wise Old Owl simply looks at him, his great eyes silently taking in the scene before him. Ava's back! Shouts Emberon Coalscuttle. And then he gestures towards your party. And she brought shinies! The Wise Old Owl simply nods. He raises his right wing and he says, Very well, Emberon. Return to guard duty. I will welcome Ava back into the fold. And then, with a grand, serene motion, he beckons for all of you to approach him. What do you do, Ava?
I'll lead everyone over and approach. I wouldn't be nervous to see this owl.
No, but it's been a few years since you've seen him, and in that time he does not appear to have aged a bit. His his thick brown plumage still as vibrant as it was when you left. He looks at you each in turn, and he says, I am the Wise Owl, the leader of this tribe. You already know Ava, and I welcome her back into the fold. If you are her friends, then call yourselves friends of our tribe as well. He holds out his wings and he says, Your arrival is fortuitous. Our tribe has had dire times of late. Please, give me your tidings.
I saw, and I'll give him the breast.
You walk over to him and you reach into your cloak and you pull out the priest's head and
I'll give him Broken Barrel's head. I'll be like, I don't care.
You pull out both of the heads and silently offer them to him. He appears to have no visible reaction. His eyes just silently drift until they're gazing at both heads. And then you see him nod, and in a calm, serene voice he says, Ava, you said that one day you would return when the tribe needed you, and it seems you spoke the truth. You have brought back Leatherwing and slain the leader of the paladins who trouble us so. Please, place their heads on the altar to the great Mudmore before me. He gestures to what appears to be nothing more than a large otherwise unremarkable stone slab beneath him.
I'll do that.
After the
I'll
heads
replace the heads.
After the heads are placed, his gaze lingers on them for a few moments, and he says, "And now, in accordance with the rites of the Great Mudmore, we shall consign what is left of Father Leatherwing to the Great Beyond, and find him a successor." He looks at you each in turn. He says, "I must ask, did Broken Barrel die well?"
Is that bloody?
And surrounded
Not
by,
well.
constricted by snakes.
Yeah. Define well.
He just smiles and says, "I appreciate that her death was one befitting her crimes."
Wow.
His gaze then lingers on Ava and he says, "Ava, you know the terms of the Great Mudmore, do you not? I would not be surprised if you have forgotten. After all, you have been gone for quite some time and memories fade. But Ava, I would like you to make a nature check, please."
That is... where is my nature? My nature is +6. 18 + 6.
18 + 6, yeah, that'll pass. You think and you recall to before you left, and you remember the rites of the Great Mudmore, the sentient giant crocodile that grants divine visions to your tribe. Always through the medium of one oracle. There can only be one oracle at a time, and when the existing oracle dies, it is his job to depict a successor. The wise owl frowns and says, "Unfortunately, Father Leatherwing did not have time to declare a successor before he was captured by the Metal Sabatons, and so we must fall back to the contingencies of the Great Mudmore." He beckons for you to continue, Ava, and you recite the rest of the contingency yourself to the party, that in the event that the existing oracle was not able to name a successor to his post before he died, that simply the last member of the tribe to feel his touch would be designated his successor. The wise owl opens his wings and holds them out to you, Ava, as if in a gesture of deference. And he says, "And by virtue of bringing his head back into the fold, I believe you were the last to feel his touch, were you not, Ava?"
Oh, shit.
Oh, boy. Yay, go Ava.
I guess so.
He says, "The precepts declare that henceforth you become the oracle of the Great Mudmore. Of course, you do not have to accept."
Can I appoint someone else? Because that would mean I would have to stay, wouldn't it?
He smiles and he says, "If there is more adventure in your life, the duties of your post may remain, and you may appoint someone to be the oracle in your absence. An oracle in absentia. However, by accepting the role, you will still forge the mind link between yourself and the Great Mudmore and receive his visions and guidances wherever you are on your travels."
Maybe I should.
He says, "It is a great honor to the tribe, and considering the services you have done for us, I could think of none more befitting than you.
It's an honor.
He says, and so you accept. He says, very well. Come, follow me, bring your entourage with you. We shall consign Father Leatherwing to his eternal rest, and forge your fate as the next oracle. And then with one swift motion, he folds his wings together, leaps off his perch, and begins walking towards a curtain-covered archway at the back of his hut.
I shall follow.
As
Boy.
he parts the curtains, he
Oh,
turns
boy.
his head to face you, and he says, "Don't forget to bring Father Leatherwing."
Of course.
And as you follow him, passing the stone slab, you lift up Father Leatherwing's head, carry it out with you. On the other side of the archway, you emerge on a balcony, the back of the royal aviary, the side of the royal aviary, facing a large patch of water below. A rectangular pool of murky swamp water, almost taken over by lily pads and other swamp plants. Bobbit, you recognize it as what was once the royal baths.
I will just smile, but I'm not saying a word. I don't want to ruin this moment.
The water below is still. There is no sign of life other than the plants that quiver and ripple in the water's surface. The wise owl raises his wings and he shouts, "Great Mudmore! It is time to pass the role of oracle to another, and so we ask, please grant us the right to gaze upon your face." He reaches his left wing into a small wooden bowl and retrieves what you quickly see is a dried fish, and then hurls it off the balcony into the water where it lands with a splash. You notice waves begin to ripple across the surface of the water. And then you see movement, something large moving beneath the surface. There is a loud splash as the jaws of a great giant crocodile snap at the dried fish, swallowing it in one gulp. And then the crocodile lingers there, its head sitting just above the surface, watching all of you on the balcony with its tiny brown eyes. Although you cannot see the full width of its body, you can see that the shadow beneath it is at least the length of 5 humans standing end to end, and the head itself is large enough that its jaws would be able to easily swallow any of you in a single gulp.
It's a big boy.
I'd like to wave at Mr. Mudmore.
You wave at the Mudmore and he simply watches, simply stares at you. The wise owl turns to you and he says, "This is the great Mudmore, our link to the god Ubtao, who provides our tribe with divine guidance. And now, Ava, Father Leatherwing's head, if you please." He holds out an empty wing.
I shall pass the head.
The wise owl holds the head in the air above him and says, "Oh, great Mudmore, your oracle's life has come to an end, and the powers you granted upon him are returned to you." And then, perhaps to the horror of everyone watching, he hurls the head down into the pool of water.
I've seen him.
I would say that
Or-
Aviary is neutral, expecting it.
Yes.
I was just kind of watching on it with curiosity.
As it falls, the crocodile shifts slightly in the pool, sending ripples across the surface. And then, in one motion, he opens his jaws and clamps them down upon the head, crunching it to bits under his teeth. The owl watches silently until the Mudmore is finished chewing his snack. And then he turns to Ava and he says, "A feather, if you please."
I shall give him a feather.
Pluck one of your feathers. Where do you take it from?
My head?
Yeah, you can take a head feather if you like. You reach for
No.
one of your...
I don't want to be disrespectful, so I'll take
You
it
gave
from
him.
my head.
You reach up and you take one of the feathers from the front of your eagle plume and hand
I was
it
gonna
to
take
him.
a butt one, but yeah.
Yeah, you're being respectful. He snatches it from you, and then he says, "And now, great Mudmore, another who would seek your guidance and serve as Uptal's messenger between yourself and our humble tribe." And he throws the feather down. It slowly makes its way down into the pool, where it lands on the surface and just floats. The crocodile shifts on the spot and then opens his mouth, and you see the tip of his tongue just poke out, snatching up the feather and pulling it into his maw. Then, as if possessed by a great magical energy, his entire body snaps bolt upright, and he submerges from the water, his seemingly standing on his hind legs. He rises up until his full height towers over the balcony, towers over you all, and you see his great maw twist into the shape of a smile as his tiny brown eyes gaze upon Ava. Ava, I would like you to please make a nature check to bond with the great Mudmore.
Okay. That is a 7 plus 6.
You feel
13.
13. You
Not great.
You look back into his eyes, and for a few moments, there's nothing but silence. Nothing happens. But then you feel something rushing through your body, your insides churn, and suddenly a vision forces its way into your mind. A vision of a terrible, terrible black creature, its appendages and face not fully formed, looking for all the world to be nothing more than a great, black, evil fetus roiling in the middle of a void. It looks at you with its ill-formed face. Its half-grown eyes stare right into your soul, and then a voice whispers, A new god is on the precipice of birth, feeding upon the force of life to sustain it. If it is born, the world is doomed. For this god is a servant of the great Akarak. And with that, the vision is over. You are standing once again on the balcony with everyone else, and the great Mudmore is already lowering himself back into the water without looking at you again, until all that remains are a few bubbles on the surface of the pool.
I'm guessing Ava is gonna panic a little bit.
Yeah, what will Ava do?
Panic.
Panic.
Actually, I feel like Bob's just sitting back there going, vision are
Sorry, Bobbit, you'll have to say that again.
fun like that.
You'll have to say that again, M2, I'm sorry.
Just sort of like stares off into space going, is it?
Yeah, I know, and connection is flatlining. Just a casual flat line from Bobbit of visions can be fun like that.
Yes, visions. Ava, do you explain to the rest of the party what you just saw?
Should I? Well, I guess so. Yeah.
Alright. I would like...
And the owl.
And the owl, yep, everyone present. I would like everyone who is not Ava to please make an Arcana check.
$26.
Zinhorn and
I'm
Bolt.
natural 20.
Unnatural 20.
It's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Suddenly, she speaks the name in her vision, and all of you who've done any considerable amount of study into magic recognize it. Bobbit, you hear Mr. Stick's voice echoing in your mind. Azarak! Oh, how I loathe that name. Azarak, also known as the Great Demi Lich. Legend says he travels between the planes, from world to world, constructing great and terrible death traps to hold his phylacteries and his treasure and the products of his dark experiments. If there was anyone who could have created the Soulmonger, it would be Azarak. Mr. Stick just fumes with seeming anger in your mind, Bobbit, as he whispers, yes, Azarak and the Soulmonger. But why? Why does he need to siphon the souls of the living?
Good questions.
To make his Horcruxes.
Well, he's a lich, he needs to feed. And if he's
Yeah, I
so
was gonna
powerful,
say,
maybe
yeah.
he needs to feed on multiples
Yes.
to make up one.
He is a lich that is apparently so powerful that his name is known and feared across the multiverse, and almost anyone who has spent any significant amount of time educating themselves in the ways of arcane magic will have read of his name. Up until this point, you thought he was nothing more than a legend, but if the great Mudmore's claims of divinity are true, then perhaps Azarak exists, and he is the true harbinger behind the Death Plague.
We're in trouble.
The wise
We're in danger.
owl looks at you all, and he smiles and he says, I see that the Mudmore has already granted you with divine guidance, young Ava.
Regretting decisions.
He says, however, I can tell by the look on your face that perhaps the Mudmore's vision has given you only more questions than answers.
Finally, someone else gets it.
He says,
Ava needs a map.
and so, as the Mudmore Oracle, Ava, I grant you permission to enter the Temple of Ubtal and seek answers in the great library of Mezro.
Thank you greatly.
He says there is a secret passage that travels under the city streets and emerges within the temple itself. A secret passage known only to myself and the Oracle. And I will pass it to you now. The wise old owl looks you in the eyes, Ava, and once again you feel your insides squirm, and there's a flash of vision. A house in the residential quarter. A house that seems too immaculate to be in Mezro. Perfectly maintained, even when the city around it is completely abandoned. A certain brick in the wall that must be pushed in a certain place, a certain way. A secret tunnel that leads directly into the Temple of Ubtal, and now you know exactly how to access it.
Awesome.
Ava would be much more excited about this if it had not been for the lovely impending message of doom and death.
The old owl sighs when he says, the day is getting late. As much as I would like to welcome you all to spend the night here amongst Ava's people, I feel that with the urgency of the Mudmore's vision, that you must leave immediately. Find answers before any more time is wasted. And so, as the leader of this tribe, I will personally ask of you to do me this favor. Leave. Take the secret passage and plumb the mysteries that await in the library of Mezro. He then notices Bol bitching to say something and holds out his wings and says, but of course, before you leave, I would be willing to entertain questions. So anything... Yep, there we go. Now we can hear you. Oh, wait. What's going on with
What's that
Demi?
mean?
Oh,
There we go.
there we go. There you go. What would you like to say to him, Bulb?
I never said anything.
Oh, I thought that was you wanting
No,
to ask
that
him
was
something.
them
Yeah.
It
too.
was me. I was trying to see
yep.
if, well, I'm happy to ask a question. It's only a simple one
Yep.
from Bobbit. Just, how long have you been here?
He looks at you and he says, I think you know the answer. He looks you in the eyes. Please make an intelligence check.
Oh boy. That is my third nat 20 of the day.
Another
I'm gonna die
memory.
next week.
Another memory wells up into your mind, and there you see it. You standing in the royal aviary, gazing upon the great gold cage that hangs at the very back of the dome. Inside it, a large brown barn owl looks down at you. The vision ends, and you are back on the balcony, staring at the wise old owl.
Bobbit has tears in her eyes at actually seeing something from her past in front of her.
He looks at you and he simply says, welcome back, Lady Alessander.
I want to hug the owl.
Now you fear. You rush forwards and you wrap your hands around his plumage and embrace him in a hug. He silently waits. He silently waits. The hug seems to last an eternity until you extract yourself. The wise old owl looks at you and he says, welcome home. And now you could feel duty calling, can you not, Alessander? You know where you must be.
I do indeed. I'm just so happy to see something from my memories that isn't
It means it's real. This is actually real. I know that this is a thing. This is yay.
The old owl is silent for a moment, and then he smiles once again. He gestures towards the archway leading back into the aviary itself, and then he says, "Feel free to spend a few hours resting for what waits ahead. And then, the mysteries and dangers of the Temple of Ubtao await you." And with that, he turns and silently walks away, leaving you all on the balcony, overlooking the Mudmore's pool. That is where we'll end it this week,
That was great.
because I feel I was gonna at least let you get into the dungeon, but I feel with M2's power going out that,
I'm sorry.
because we're gonna need. I will just preview the dungeon for you though,
Oh, well.
And
because
everyone on stream, apparently.
yeah, everyone on stream. But yeah, so this is what we'll be going through next week. So
Ooh.
you may have a short rest, not a long rest,
Short rest, yeah.
because you won't be staying overnight in the Royal Aviary, because that warning from the Mudmore seemed pretty dire. And as a
That's an
result,
understatement.
the Death Curse will enter its next stage. And from next week, Sir Lucian will receive -10 on his max HP, and he will only be able to heal half HP from a hit dice when having a short rest.
Shit.
Woo-wee.
He is in a world of shit.
And so I hope you enjoyed that episode.
I did.
Make sure you join us next week for the third and probably final part of the Mysteries of Mezro arc, where our heroes will enter the Temple of Ubtao, move through the dungeon, hopefully survive all its dangers, and find something in the Great Library that will hopefully point them towards the Soulmonger and give them something that may help them against their newly revealed foe, Aviary, the great Demi Lich.
Yeah, you know,
Who
it's a good day
strikes-
when even my patron is nervous about this fucker.
Yep. The great Demi Lich who strikes fear into the hearts of many across the multiverse. And before we go, I'll just leave some D&D trivia, as those of you who are into D&D, or D&D lore, or just have played for a long time, will relish this little tidbit of info, that Asarak is the creator of the Tomb of Horrors in lore.
Oh.
So, you should know what you're up against. He's basically the in-game personification of Gary Gygax.
Oh, that's going to go well.
I'm an oracle.
Yes. And you will continue to receive divine visions from the Mudmore for the rest of the campaign. That will subtly guide you. And
This episode will be even more horrific than the last. Hooray!
if you can make sense of them, they will offer you guidance and knowledge, and perhaps forewarn you of threats to come. But with that, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today for our first Twitch exclusive stream. We are Twitch affiliates now, so thank you for joining us on our new channel. This will, of course, be uploaded later to YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, you won't miss out. You just didn't get to see it live. And until next time, who'd like to take the outro?
I don't.
Well,
I got one.
go ahead.
If your power goes out for any reason mid-session, always make sure to have backups of everything, just to be safe.
Just in case. But thank you again, and goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.